Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into Morgan Housel's The Art of Spending Money to really get into the surprisingly complicated link between our money and our happiness. So whether you're prepping for your book club or you're just looking for some big ideas for your own life, we're going to break down the main points. Let's get right into it.
So Housel kicks things off with a story that sounds, well, completely backwards. A woman gets LASIK eye surgery, something she's wanted for years, and it's a total success. Her vision is perfect. But instead of being happy, she's miserable. She said it ruined her life. So why? Because she didn't just buy better eyesight. She bought an expectation. She thought her husband would find her more attractive, that her coworkers would see her differently. And when that fantasy didn't come true, she was just crushed.
And that story right there is the perfect way to get into Howell's entire argument. See, the art of spending money isn't really about spreadsheets or budgets, it's about psychology. It's about the stories we tell ourselves about what we think money is supposed to do for us and the huge gap between those stories and what actually happens.
All right, so let's dive into this art of spending. The very first big idea we have to wrap our heads around is that our financial choices are, well, almost never as rational as we like to pretend they are.
Housel brings up this saying from social work that is just perfect when you think about money. And it starts with this one simple phrase.
With enough information, the second you understand a person's story, their background, their fears, their hopes, all of their seemingly weird or irrational money habits suddenly make total sense.
See, what he's saying is that every single one of us has this kind of financial blueprint that's been built by our past. You could have two people who grew up poor. One might spend every dollar they get, while the other hoards every penny, terrified they'll lose it all. And neither one is wrong. Their behavior just makes sense for them. And this newspaper headline from the Roaring '20s just illustrates the point perfectly. Just think about it for a second. After years of war and hardship, people weren't just spending money because they had it. They were spending to try and heal this deep emotional wound from being poor, from being snubbed. It wasn't a financial calculation. It was a psychological reaction.
Okay, so this leads us to the next big myth we've got to bust. The idea that we spend our money simply because we want nice things. Is that really what we're after?
So how do you figure out what you actually want? Housel suggests this pretty powerful thought experiment. He calls it the reverse obituary. Sounds a little morbid, I know, but stick with me. Imagine you have to write the summary of your own life. What's actually important? And what you find is, well, it's this huge contrast, right? On one side, you've got your resume virtues. This is the stuff we're told to chase. The job title, the salary, the big house. But on the other side, you've got the eulogy virtues. These are the things we hope people say about us when we're gone. That we were kind, that we were loved, that we were helpful. We spend our whole lives chasing the stuff on the left, but deep down, we all hope to be remembered for the stuff on the right. I mean, the philosopher Adam Smith totally nailed this way back in 1759. We tell ourselves we want the fancy car for the comfort, for the ease, or the pleasure. But if we're really honest, what we're actually buying is the attention. It's the respect, the admiration we think comes with it. We're chasing vanity.
And Warren Buffett, of course, puts it so brilliantly. The things that actually get you those eulogy virtues, real love, genuine respect, they just can't be bought. You'd like to think you could just write a check for them, but it doesn't work that way.
Okay, so if buying more stuff doesn't get you more respect or love, then that just blows up our next myth, which is that the whole point of money is just to have more and more of it. You've probably heard this one, the classic parable of the Mexican fisherman. An American businessman is on vacation and is just horrified to see a local fisherman only working a few hours a day. So he tells him, "You should work longer, catch more fish, buy more boats, build an empire." And the fisherman's just confused, right? He asks the guy, "Okay, and let's say I do all that. I work my whole life and get rich, then what?" And this is the punchline, of course. The businessman says, well, then you could finally retire. You could sleep in, hang out with your family, take naps, play guitar with your friends. The joke being, of course, that the fisherman was already doing all of that. And that story just perfectly explains the psychology you see in this chart. Our desire for something, the value we put on it, is at its absolute highest before we have it. It's the chase. That's what's so exciting. But as soon as we get it, that value plummets. We just get used to it. The pursuit is often so much more thrilling than actually having the thing. So what's the big takeaway here? It's completely counterintuitive. The secret to being wealthy isn't about earning more, it's about wanting less. Real happiness is about contentment.
And you find contentment by shrinking that gap between what you have and what you want. That gap, that's where psychological wealth is really built.
All right, this brings us to our final and maybe the most important lesson of all, truly understanding the absolute limits of what money can actually do for you.
All right, take a look at this number, 13. What do you think that could possibly mean in the world of wealth and happiness? Get this, that's the number of divorces among the world's 10 richest men. We're talking about a group of people who can buy literally anything they want. And yet, when it comes to a fundamental measure of happiness, a real eulogy virtue, they struggle just like anyone else. It's just a powerful, powerful reminder that money cannot fix deep human problems.
The legendary producer Rick Rubin, wow, he just says it perfectly. The most crushing feeling in the world isn't failing. It's getting everything you ever dreamed of and then realizing you're still the same person with the same old problems and anxieties. That is when a real sense of hopelessness can kick in.
So what does this all boil down to? Look, money itself isn't going to make you happy. It just won't. But it can be an incredibly powerful tool. It can buy you control of your time. It can give you independence. It can create opportunities to build those strong relationships and find a sense of purpose. And it's those things, friends, family, purpose, that are the real sources of happiness. Money is just the means, it's not the end.
And that really leaves us with this one final, pretty profound question from the book. We put so much of our energy into making a living, but the real art is in making a life. So you have to ask yourself, are you?
If you found this explainer helpful, please do me a favor and hit that like button, share it with someone who could use it, and make sure you subscribe to Wealth Notes for more deep dives like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.